when I joined my first search and rescue mission in the Central Mediterranean. Back then, I joined this ship, or the crew of this ship, called the Juventa. It was a fishing ship that was active, that started really that summer to operate, and I basically joined the crew of volunteers, young volunteers from several different places in Europe, uh, that basically didn't see themselves represented in the EU migration policy, right?
Well, like, what's the situation in 2016 here? Like, what's the geopolitical situation that's causing large numbers of people to try to cross the Mediterranean to enter Europe?
So a lot was happening back then, for several different reasons. I guess if I have to point out um, two or three specific events that were most significant, I would say, well, the war in Syria definitely contributed to a huge influx of people from the Middle East into Europe through several routes. Also, the beginning of the civil war in Libya caused enormous instability in a country where almost half of the population was already people from sub-Saharan African countries that lived in relative poverty. So when the war starts, those are the first people to flee, and so those two routes kind of picked up um, just a few years after those two wars started.
For a while, the Italian government were rescuing people
Yeah, yeah.
from the sea, and this was before you volunteered. I mean, tell me a little bit about that and why that operation fell apart, and they ended up just leaving people to drown, essentially, trying to come over to the EU.
Yeah, so in the Central Mediterranean, which is the route where I was most involved, um, numbers were picking up quite a lot by 2013, and it was a decision by the European Union to start a rescue operation, military rescue operation in the Central Mediterranean. So it was funded by the EU, but then it was operated by the Italian Navy, and this operation was called Mare Nostrum. And I mean, it had huge means. I think we've never seen anything like that since.